So I got fired on my first day, and this is why. So I showed up to the club, to a new club in Austin. I'm not gonna say which one, but I showed up for my audition and I got hired at the spot. I didn't work that night because the boss wasn't there that night. He wasn't gonna be back till Thursday, so I was told to just come back. So a few days passed by. I show up on Thursday to work on my first day, and I have all my stuff. And I get told, okay, like go get dressed, and then at the locker room, I get told to go sit in the tables where basically like the club is. So I went to go sit down, and I basically was told that I had to talk to the boss, just because of my arm situation, and I have a broken arm. I don't know if it's still broken or not because I got surgery a few months ago, but I still have the scar. I have two. I got surgery on my forearm, so it was broken. I don't know if it's still broken or not, but I always make sure to mention it to them so that way they like know what's going on, because they usually just look at my arm like all weird. So basically I was told that I had to go sit down and before I started working so I can talk to the boss about actually they didn't even say about what, they just told me to go sit down because of my arm situation. So I got a little paranoid, but I was like, okay, well, I sit down and I'm waiting, and I got there right when the club opened because the house fee is cheaper, so I wanted to pay cheaper fee. So I was getting upset that they were taking it long because it had already been an hour and I was still waiting there, sitting down, and I couldn't work. So an hour passes by and I'm still there. They don't tell me anything either. The girls that work there, they're just passing by, and they don't even look at me, like they're not even telling me what's going on. So I'm just sitting there like wondering what the hell is going on, why am I not working? And so basically 2 hours pass by, 2 hours, and no one tells me anything. I'm just sitting there. At some point I start thinking like, am I supposed to sit here like this whole time, or was I supposed to change and then come sit? Like I was just doubting everything, quite asking myself questions. But no, I just had to sit there. And so finally, 2 hours later, a little more than 2 hours, the girl that originally told me to go sit down before I started working, told me that he was about to arrive. He was like 5 minutes away or something. So I was like, okay, trying to be all patient and stuff. So it was about to be 3 hours, okay? Like, so I guess he arrived at the club, he was there, and there was a girl with him. And so I'm just still waiting, and I see someone pass by, and I haven't met this guy. I don't know what he looks like, but for some reason, I just knew it was the guy that had just passed. He passed me, he looked at me, kind of mugged me, and just looked away. But I was like, well, that can't be him because he didn't even come up to talk to me. So I still kept waiting, but something was telling me that was him. Something, but I couldn't do anything. I was just waiting there, waiting, wondering like, what's going on? Am I gonna be able to work? And if I am, I'm gonna have to pay like the house fee from now, because at the time it was already expensive, but it was whatever. But basically 2.5 hours later, a girl comes up to me. Or actually no, before the girl comes up to me, I see that they're hiring someone else. So I guess a new girl went in for an audition. They were showing her around, and she got hired. Everyone usually gets hired at the spot. It's not hard to get hired at a club, unless they're like really strict, I don't know. But they were hiring someone else, and I was getting concerned at this point because I was like, what's going on? It's been almost 3 hours, and they basically stopped me from working, even though I got hired. So I'm just sitting there all worried and freaking out. Not really, but just worried. And so I see the new girl going to the locker room. So I'm like, okay, well, that girl that was showing her around should be able to come talk to me because I hadn't seen her. So I was thinking like maybe it was one of the managers, or I don't know. Because the previous manager that hired me said that there was 3, but it was more like 1. It was confusing, but I was thinking like maybe it was just a couple, and I was right. So it was a couple. So the girl finally came over and talked to me, and she basically told me that because of my whole arm situation, I'm not gonna be able to work there. like straight up. Like they just told me like, yeah, sorry, like he's the one who decided. And she didn't point at him, but she like looked, when she said like he's the one who decided, she looked over there, and over there was the guy that had passed me previously like 30 minutes ago. And it was a guy that mugged me that I kept thinking like, I think that's him. And I was right, it was him the whole time. He was literally, I was sitting right here, and he was not that far away from me. He was like over there with other strippers taking pictures of them, because I guess it was like photo shoot or something day. And so he was there the whole time, and he didn't even have time or care to come talk to me. Like he couldn't even give me 2 minutes or a minute. He couldn't even come and talk to me personally and tell me like, hey, you're not gonna be able to work here because of your arm situation. And so I was really frustrated at that point. I was just, when she told me that, I didn't know what to say. I was just looking at her like I didn't know what to say, because I had been waiting for almost 3 hours, and they knew that. And I got hired, and then they just tell me that I can't work when I show up for work. It was really frustrating. So basically I waited almost 3 hours for nothing, when they could have just told me the whole time like, hey, you can't work here. I don't know if the first manager that hired me or the front girl, I don't know if they didn't know, and that's why they just didn't tell me. I'm guessing they just didn't know, because I don't see why they would just waste my time like that. But I still think that the boss did waste my time. He knew I got there when they opened. He was already there, and till almost 40 minutes later, he decides to go send someone to tell me instead of him telling me. So I thought that was messed up, and I low-key felt like he was discriminating me in a way, because he like said she said that she was basically telling me what he had said, and so he kind of said some words for like, since your arm is like this, you seem kind of useless, you know. So I thought it was just fucked up. The whole situation was fucked up, and I guess they were shady like that. But yeah, that's the time that I got hired and fired on my first day of work, basically. And ever since that, I haven't gone to a new club. I'm a little traumatized just because of my whole arm. I feel like everyone's gonna see me like that. But there is another club that I want to try out. I just haven't gone because it's far. It's really far, and I've been lazy to drive. But I'm gonna try out another club and see what happens.